हरे कृष्ण। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna. We will continue our discussion on Srila Prabhupada's purport. This is one of the most important chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Second chapter and third chapter basically tells the very importance of bhakti, and also the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam is understood in the fifth chapter. What are the main highlights of the chapter? I'll tell. You remember this? You have understood with the chapter. What Narada Muni is trying to tell is no need to read any other literature. Only Srimad Bhagavatam is sufficient. Or even if you are reading any other literature, it should ultimately bring us to Bhagavatam. That is first point. And only way, unless Krishna is satisfied, we cannot be satisfied. We have to make Krishna satisfied to make ourselves satisfied. That's the reason Vyasdev is unsatisfied. Now, another important what we can understand is all other literature. There are many books which are talking about God. Many literature talking about what is truth and God. In that, Srimad Bhagavatam stands apart. Within the Vedic literature, there are many literatures which are talking about devotion also. Even Padma Puran, Vyasdev explained, even Vishnu Puran, there are many places where pure devotional service is explained. Still, Bhagavatam stands apart. That is what is to be understood, and no need to do any other thing other than reading Bhagavatam. That itself is sufficient. Any other literature, especially this is the glorification of importance of literature of Bhagavatam, not pure devotional service, but Bhagavatam. One more important here is, see, Prabhupada, when he translates, when he for Bhagavad Gita, he writes Bhagavad Gita as it is. But Bhagavatam he didn't write as it is. Because Bhagavad Gita, there are so many other topics also. There are so many chapters on karma, there are so many chapters on jnana, one chapter on dhyana, and then there are very important shlokas on bhakti. But Bhagavad Gita, what happens is, because bhakti is also one section, at least in Bhagavad Gita is much better. In other Vedic literatures and Puranas, what is the problem is, it is almost on an equal level it is kept. You have Jnana also, you have Karma also, you have Bhakti also. It is on an equal level that is placed. In Bhagavad Gita, even it is told Bhakti is special, but there can be so many interpretations in Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna gave many other topics also, Karma, Jnana, Yoga, other things are also there in Bhagavad Gita, and it is so many people, that's why they can interpret what Bhagavad Gita is telling. When it comes to Bhagavatam, you cannot do much with it. That's why even Shankaracharya did not touch. It was so clear. You cannot play around. Some things are like yesterday one devotee came to meet me, and he likes there is one famous Bhagavatam. The same Bhagavatam is written in Telugu, Potana. Very, very sweet. And he was showing me somebody who is speaking this. Who is speaking is a smart Brahmana, very good Bhagavatam reciter, and he was making me hear. And he was so nicely explaining. And even the Mayavadis they explain, they also cannot do much with it because it's very difficult when it comes to Bhagavatam. But Bhagavad Gita, that's why Prabhupada read as it is. Now, uh, no need to read Bhagavad Gita for reading Bhagavatam. In previous, before Vishwanath Chakravarti and all, first person to comment from our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya was Vishwanath Chakravarti. Is to read. Now, Prabhupada says Bhagavatam starts when Bhagavad Gita ends, because Sarva Dharman Paritidya Mamekam Sharanam. And here Bhagavatam starts Dharma Projita Kaita Uttar Parvo, Tektva Swadharmam Charanam Bhujamare. So, where it ends, Bhagavatam start. We need to read Bhagavad Gita with Prabhupada commentary, because he tells it as it is. As it is means, in karma also Prabhupada tells what Krishna want to tell at the end. Only. In every chapter he tells what Krishna want to tell. That is the reason you have to hear with commentary of Prabhupada. As it is means, what is the essence that is explained everywhere. From the beginning to end, Prabhupada explained the essence. Instead of telling all different topics Krishna touched, Prabhupada took essence and he explained. That's the reason it is as. Bhagavatam from the first shloka till end, it is nectar. Now even Mayavadis come to Bhagavatam, it will be like Mohini Murti. They will be bewildered. They cannot understand. But if somebody is sincere, he will not go anywhere with Bhagavatam. He will not get misled. Bhagavad Gita, there is so much chance like. Anyway, we'll start with our purports. I will share some of the points in due course of time. How this fifth chapter is so very important for us to understand and try to meditate on it. And this should be our meditation. We should think, "Arey, what Vasudev did mistake? What the mistake Nardamuni is trying to identify? What is so wrong in Vyasa Maharshi?" And this is not just something super, very deep. And we see Nardamuni glorifying now Vyasadev. And based on that also we can understand. And what Vyasadev glorifies Nardamuni, both are there. We'll start. Sutha Vacha Tatatvam Sukham Asina Upasinam Vritrava Devarshi Praha Viprashrim Dina Pani Samyan Iva. Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage among the gods Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishis among the brahmanas. Three things are there. First is smiling. And if you remember Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna also smiling among, standing, smiling, and looking at Arjuna. First thing is, they are always in a transcendental state where they are always happy. That can be one reason. Another is when they see the conditions, how this Vyas Maharshi's mistake, he is feeling, oh, Vyas Maharshi, you did like this. So in Arjuna's case, Krishna wanted to laugh, but he thought it will break his heart. That's why he smiled. Because Arjuna was he's talking some foolishly. What Arjuna, how are you talking such foolish things? Krishna wanted to laugh, but he just smiled. Here also, Narada is smiling. Hey, Vasudev, what you did? This is such a big blunder. So he's also smiling. Now, another is he's having his veena. Narada Muni Bhajai Vina Radhikaraman. What is important here is some person is who's happy, he sings and dance. And this is what is Narada Muni. People, they forgot actually. Children, if you see, that's always singing. Like our neighbors, the small children are there. They sing in the evening, whatever comes, national anthem, this, that, they're always happy. And then elderly people there with their mobile talking something here, there. They cannot sing so happily. Maybe in bathroom they may sing sometime. But Narada Muni is with Veena. Oh, it is not that Suta Goswami is trying to use some words to explain how uh, transcendentally situated and how happy is Narada Muni. So that, and then he says Narada was smiling because he well knew this great sage Vyasa and the cause of his disappointment. Same thing with Krishna and Arjuna's case also. And as he will explain gradually, Vyasdev's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the science of devotional service. Narada knew the defect and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. And now Narada Muni, he starts this first. Narada Uvacha Parashara Mahabhaga Bhavata Kachit Atmana Paritushyati Shariram Atma Manasa Evava. This is a very famous shloka where he says, addressing Vyasdev, the son of Parashara, Parashara Mahabhaga. Mahabhaga means greatly fortunate. And he says, Bhavata Kachit Atmana. He says that, are you satisfied? Paritushyati Shariram. Are you satisfied by identifying the body or mind as a subject of self-realization? Now, this is the first, what he's telling is, you have guided people in being materially comfortable and you have helped them how to be satisfied in the mind. All our struggles, we are all struggling for three things. One is we want good education, we want good wealth, and we want good power. So knowledge we need, we also need some wealth, and we need power. These are the source of enjoyment. For what? To do sense gratification, to satisfy the mind. Vyas Maharshi happy nicely explained in the Vedas. And here Narada Muni is trying to find out that this was a hint by Narada to Vyasa regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasdev, as a descendant of Parashara, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage which should not give Vyasadev cause for despondency. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge identify the body or self or the mind as self, but Vyasdev should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Unless we are situated in that state, we cannot expect much happiness just by satisfying in the mind. That is the reason, if we see, all the people are working for that only. They want money, wealth and power to satisfy their senses and mind, which is not going to really satisfy. Savai pumsam paro dharmo eto bhakti radokshije ahaitu aprata ye atma suprasiddhati is only with bhakti. Nobody can be happy. We should be convinced of it. Prabhupada was convinced, that's why we could take Bhagavatam and with the Bhagavatam said went to America. In spite of all the world want to go to America, become like them and follow America. Prabhupada said they are not happy. They may have big cars, big money, big buildings, beautiful bodies, so much enjoyment. Prabhupada said, no, they cannot be happy. With full confidence, he went and he told, you are not happy. This is the way to be happy. And they accepted it. That is the point. And as long as somebody is materially comfortable, he may have good wealth, good mental things and all, we should be convinced that he cannot. Because Bhagavatam is telling. It is very helpful for us to chant our holy name with full faith. When we are chanting in the morning, distraction is because we still have some faith in the material object. If we lose faith on that, then we'll have complete faith on chanting. No distraction. Peacefully chant and with full confidence. And more we develop that faith, with more intensity we chant, and then we'll understand we have very less time. We really have very less time for chanting the holy name. Less time in the sense our lifespan is very less, and the goal to achieve is very big. That seriousness will come when we start prayer, when we start developing the faith and holy name. We understand, oh, long way to go, so much thing. We identify our problems. Now here Narada Muni says Vyasa Maharshi who understood what is Paravidya and Aparavidya. So third shloka he says you have complete knowledge of Paravidya. Fourth he says you have complete knowledge of Aparavidya. We'll see what is this. So Jignasitam Susampannam Apite Mahadadbhutam Tatavan Bharatam Yastam Sarvartha Paribramhitam. No doubt, your inquiries were full and your studies also are fulfilled. Since you have prepared a great and wonderful work, Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. I was telling them that whatever is there in all the other literature is there in Mahabharata, and something is not there in Mahabharata, then it is not there anywhere. Vyas Maharshi did such a great work, Mahabharata. This is all about Dharma, Moksha, very perfect. The despondency of Vyasdev was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student he had fully inquired about the Vedic literature, as a result of which Mahabharata is compiled with full explanations of the Vedas. Very, very thorough work is Mahabharata. And Narada Muni is glorifying Vyasdev. So here, even though second shloka, he as soon as he addressed, he said, "Are you satisfied identifying with body and mind? You're not supposed to do. You're helping others to identify with their body and mind, and you have compiled such a great literature. you are uh, first is you are full of knowledge, susampannam, well versed, and mahadadbhutam. You have such a great, wonderful work of writing Bharatam, this Mahabharata. And next he says, Jignasitam Aditam cha Brahma yat tat sanatanam Atapi sochas atmanam akritartha iva prabho. Now, third is telling that you have paravidya. That means the knowledge about this material world is perfect. Now, not only knowledge about this world, knowledge of transcendence, aparavidya. Brahma yattat sanatana. He says you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of this thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? Akritartha iva Prabhu. So, why you are despondent? You have done, you have explained what is aparavidya also, you have explained paravidya also. There should not be any cause of suffering. You have explained about Brahma. And Vyasadeva became famous after writing Brahma Sutras. That is his greatest contribution. Because Brahma Sutras defeated all other systems of philosophy. Kannada, Kapala, Gautama, and Yajnavalkya, all these philosophies, they were defeated. All Karma Mimamsa and Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, they were all defeated because Vyasadeva wrote Vedanta Sutra. He could establish the highest. The Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra, compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical explanation in the world. It covers the subject of eternity and the methods of solitary. So there cannot be any doubt about the transcendental scholarship of Vyasadeva. So why should he lament? And he has done very thorough job, very systematic. If the presentation of Vyasadeva in the we were discussing also, right? How the Vedas are, that is the method of understanding is not just a logical, it is a logical realization sequence. The realization comes in that particular way. That's why the verses and shlokas will not be all the, like example I'll give. If you into astrology book, it is little easy to understand. That's why I'm giving. Others also, I also don't know much. The point, like how it is, say if you take astrology, there are 9 planets and there are so many other things are there. Now, if a person is seventh house is with Guru or Buddha or some planet, these are the effects. Now, all the effects of Guru in the seventh house is not explained in one place. Somewhere here it will be there, somewhere there it will be there. If it is having this malefic planet, if in the house of a friend or enemy or neutral, what will happen? Not everything is explained at one place. Something you'll get here, something you'll get in some other place, something you'll get in another Purana. Now, you may think, Array, what is this? Why cannot jumble, make it more simple and keep it at one place? There's a reason all these slokas and all, when Max Muller and even many people, when they try to translate this Vedic literature, they were quite confused. Why it is so not very logical? No, it is a logic based on realizations. You get the realization based on that. Second reason is you cannot understand Vedas on your own, you need a guru. Anyway, that is a different point. But here, what I want to tell is Vyasdev compiled very systematically. And now Vyas Maharshi is glorified by Narad Muni. First shloka he tells, okay, you have identified body, but you know Paravidya, you know Aparavidya, and he very much appreciated it. And this is what happens is when Guru appreciates what disciple should do. He should immediately say, no, it is not like that. And he not only he's your very great erudition is there, and you are great realized, and you not only theoretical knowledge, everything is done. Now what Vyasa Maharshi tells, now he told three things about Vyasa Maharshi. You are son of Parashara, you have compiled all the Vedic literatures and you have understood Vedanta Sutra properly. Vyasa Uvacha Asta eva me sarvamidam tvayoktam tatapi natham paridushyate me तन्मूलम् अव्यक्तमगाधबोधम् पृच्छामहे त्वां भवतामभूत. Sri Vyasdev said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. You are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your being the offspring of Brahma, who is self-born. Now Vyasdev glorifies Narada. He says, okay, you are telling I am son of Parashara, but you are son of Brahma. and uh, and you are a man of unlimited knowledge. This is another glorification. And this is what Vyas Maharshi tells about Narada. You have unlimited knowledge. I don't have so much. Now Vyas Maharshi is directly incarnation of Krishna and Narada Muni is a devotee. Still, Lord is telling this is Lord's fasting to glorify Narada. Due to your being the offspring of Brahma. In the material world, everyone is engrossed with the idea of identifying the body or mind with the self. This, as such, all knowledge disseminated in the material world is related either with the body or with the mind. All the knowledge. And this is the root cause of all despondency. See, any book we read, we will not be satisfied if it is not Bhagavatam, connected to Bhagavatam, related to Bhagavatam, or taking us to Bhagavatam. Any book we read, we cannot be satisfied. This is not always detected. Even though one may be the great erudite scholar in materialistic knowledge, it is good, therefore, to approach a personality like Narada to solve the root cause of all despondencies. Why Narada should be approached is explained below. On our own, we cannot understand our problem. Somebody need to diagnose. That is the reason we need a guru. He can diagnose our problem and accordingly he will give a solution. Very, very important. When Narada Vyasadeva is approaching Guru, Narada has Guru, Brahma has Guru. Everybody, when Lord appears, he accepts a Guru. Why? Because somebody observes us, they can tell this is the problem. He will give a prescription. Okay, do this. You will be able to get cured from this problem. He says, Savai Bhavan Veda Samasta Guhyam Upasito Yat Purusha Puranam Ravaresho Manasaiva Vishwam Srajatyavad Gunairasanga. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the Creator and Destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to three modes of material nature. No, he is telling you will know everything. That is Samasta Guhyam, all inclusive, confidential. Because Upasitaha, because you are a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Puranam Paravaresha, control of material nature. Purana is the oldest. That is the reason you are able to understand him. He is able to enter into the heart of people and understand their heart. A person who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord is emblem of all knowledge. Such a devotee of the Lord is in full perfection of devotional service, is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of God. As is the eightfold perfections of mystic power, Ashtasiddhi, constitute very little of his godly opulence. A devotee like Narada can act wonderfully by his spiritual perfection, which every individual is trying to attain. Sri Narada is a sent person, perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of Godhead. He is also Bhagavan. So, two definitions of Bhagavan Parashar Muni gives in Padma Puran. One definition is Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Virasya. Another definition of Bhagavan is one who knows Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana Jnana. He is also called Bhagavan, who can correctly explain Sambandha Abhideya and Prayojana Jnanas. He is also Bhagavan. It's another definition. So here Narada is also called Bhagavan. Many times in many other personalities are called Bhagavan in the Bhagavatam because they are able to explain the Sambandha Vidya perfectly. And another important point is to enjoy in this material world, you need to be in illusion. Otherwise, you cannot enjoy. Somebody need to identify himself with body and mind. Then only he can enjoy. And Narada Muni is telling, Arey, you have made people really fool because they are already identifying with body and mind. You are helping them only to identify more and more with body and mind. So what is the point? Otherwise, it is not possible. You have to feel that false ego connection. Really an illusion. That is how it is. Any questions? Anybody want to share something? Want to give your understandings of this purpose till 6th? You can also share your realization thoughts. Okay, we'll go ahead. I told Balram Singh Prabhu before we started purpose. I said, even 5 devotees are there. We'll do Prabhu. I said, no, I didn't tell like I said, I need minimum 5 devotees who should attend Prabhupada purpose and I'll take. He said, no, you take even 5, less than 5 also. At least now we have 20. But it's okay. I will. I said, it is good for me that I will read Prabhupada purpose. I will try to understand. And it is good. And if you share, I will also get some inputs from your realizations. It's a discussion. I'm leading the discussion, but somehow I take more time. Okay. पर्यटन कृत इव त्रिलोकीम् अन्तश्चरो वायुर्वात्मसाक्षी परावरे ब्रह्मणि ब्रह्मतो व्रतै स्नानमलं विचक्षवे. Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the 3 worlds, and like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive super soul. Please therefore find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows. So this is the point. We need somebody to observe us and tell us what is my problem. Otherwise, we cannot understand. We need Guru. He will help us. Somebody who is there who can see us and help us understand. And this is a very important point. Always be in the association of devotees under guidance. We will, for ourselves, one important thing I want to tell is we are always right. That is what our mind says. Anything we do, it says, yes, I am right. That's why we are stuck up in this metal world. And as they also, I did right only, na? Like last chapter we seen. As they said, I worshipped fire, I worshipped the devatas, I followed dharma, I did everything. Why am I unhappy? So the justification is there for all the living entities. We are always right. And the transcendental relation, pious activities, worshipping the deities, charity, mercifulness, non-violence, and study of scriptures under strict discipline regulations are always helpful. Prabhupada is telling this. And as they said, despite of this, something is lacking. So find out the deficiency in me. And this is also, people cannot think only. Yesterday we were discussing, people run so fast. They don't want to stop and think. Why am I unhappy? They don't want to think about. They don't ask that question. That is a problem. They're so busy and they don't know. And it takes them into depression. And people create problems because they don't want to think. If they're always they run, do this is activity whole day. They wake up, cook, if they're at home, they cook breakfast, lunch, dinner. In between time, they watch serials, and then they discuss about other issues. This person, that person, other relatives, And if you are in office, you go do the office work, talk here, there, some politics in office, and then you come back in front of TV and news and finish the day. And weekends, which hotel to eat, which movie to watch, which function to attend. And then if they are students, some responsible parents there with the children to make them study. People don't want to think. That is a problem. Why they're think maybe life is like this only. So things go like this. Now, from here onwards, Narada Muni is going to say the solution. This is a very nice section from here. And there are two very important shlokas, 10th and 11th shlokas, very, very important. Of course, other shlokas, 15th and all. There are many important shlokas in this section. We need to memorize. See, there are 10 things that influence our mind. First one is agama, apa. These are 10 things that are described in Bhagavatam which influence our mind. Now, before Krishna consciousness, we didn't know that problem is in us. But now I feel that there is complete chaos and problem. Yes, once you understand, we are fortunate. At least we understand that I have problem. Then we'll take the solution very seriously. Otherwise, there is no question of solution only. There is, if I don't know I have disease, there is a question of medicine. That's why we need to know that so much chaos is there. Sit for chanting, we'll know how much chaos is there in our mind. Yeah. And now, this is very important that there are 10 things that influence one. 10th, 11th canto Bhagavatam says. First one it says is Agama, the guiding book of our life. Now, when we read Bhagavatam, that will guide our life. That's all. Any book, people have Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Successful Person. That will be guiding book of his life. Somebody has very good people, Bhagavad Gita is guiding book. We need for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Bhagavatam is the guiding. Chaitanya Charitam is the guiding book. And somebody may have some novels as the guiding book. Somebody has some, they have Karl Marx or Hitler's books are there. So many books are there guiding book. Some people who don't have any guiding book only. That means what? They're just carried away. Whoever takes whichever direction, then they are carried away. But that is the reason we need to read Shastras. Previously, people were very, very particular. I was telling about Potan Bhagavatam, in the schools and in parents, in the cultural tradition previously, parents were forcing children to learn all the shlokas of Bhagavatam. So sweet. And slowly, slowly, because of modern education and all, we lost everything. Some people very rarely they read, but it's very nice culture because when we read them, like in the north, we have all these dohas, Tulsidas, Kabir, and Kalidas, songs and all. They were actually that was the literature which was written by them. People used to read Ramcharitmanas. That is a guiding book of their life. He says, no, ऐसा बताया शास्त्र में. No, it's Brahma Vak, Veda Vak. We have to follow. And for us, it is Srimad Bhagavatam, guiding book of our life because that influences our mind. The 10 things. If you change these 10 things, our mind changes. That's all. If you want to change somebody, 10 things. First is change the book which they are reading. Don't give them novels, give Bhagavatam. That's all. Their mind changes. So now here, Sri Narada said, we have not actually broadcasted the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of Lord is considered worthless. So powerful. He says, now Vyas Maharshi did broadcast, but not sufficiently. That is the mistake he did. He has told, but that's why I was telling, we need Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada right as it is because people can interpret. Bhagavatam, no chance. He is from first to last, he did not leave any any chance only did not take. That philosophy does not satisfy the transcendental. So if Lord is not satisfied, we cannot be satisfied. Eternal relationship of an individual soul with the supreme soul personality of Godhead is constitutionally one of being the eternal servitor of the eternal master. Lord has expanded himself as living beings in order to accept loving service from them. Expanded means sphere is energy. And this alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living being. Such a scholar as Vyasadeva has completed many expansions of Vedic literature, ending with Vedanta philosophy, but none of them has been written directly glorifying the personality of God. Dry philosophical speculation, even on the transcendental subject of the absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing with the glorification of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the last word in the transcendental realization. Absolute realization as impersonal Brahman or localized super soul Paramatma is less productive of a transcendental bliss than the supreme personal realization of his glories. Now, Vyas Maharshi is telling that they sorry, Prabhupada is telling Vyas Maharshi wrote all, he himself is not happy, not satisfied. How is it possible that you read and you will be satisfied? So far, is no chance. Yeah, Shyamukund Bro sharing modern education only teaches how to earn and satisfy our belly and make us dependent, but Gurukul makes us empowered and independent. Yeah, we are independently dependent. That means we are independent in the sense we are not controlled by senses and mind. Dependent in the sense we depend on the mercy of Supreme Lord. In that way, we are dependent on mercy of Supreme Lord. But when it comes to here, modern people are controlled. Comes further in this how Prabhupada is going to give such how they are controlled by their uncontrolled mind and senses. Uh, in that case, we will be independent, but we will be dependent Supreme Lord. And that's what is Narada is trying to tell. This is what you have to tell people how they should be dependent on Supreme Lord to get out of these clutches. You know, Tektva sadharmam charanambajam. The compiler of Vedanta Darshana is Vyasadeva himself. And he is troubled, although he is the author. So, what sort of transcendental bliss can be derived by the readers of and the listeners of Vedanta, which is not explained directly by Vyasadeva, the author? So, he himself is not getting. Herein arises the necessity of explaining Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the self same author, because he was not happy. And this is that is the reason, like now my this impersonalist Shankaracharya Mayavadis, they gave explanation of Vedanta Sutra, and they say no, everything is Vedanta Sutra only. You just have to read Vedanta Sutra, and that is Sharik Bhasha, they have their own interpretation. And now Prabhupada is telling her Vedanta Sutra, the author itself is not happy, why you are unnecessarily going behind Vedanta Sutra, just read Bhagavatam, which he did afterwards, his full maturity, like that. So यथा धर्मादयश्चार्था मुनिवर्णान् वरण्यानुकीर्तिता न तथा वसुदेवस्य महिमाय अनुवर्णितैः. Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described to such an extent the glories of the Supreme Personality of Vasudeva. Now there is a mental fight going. When Nargamani said, "Are you not in the previous shloka when he is telling, yeah, not actually broadcasted the sublime glories of personality of God." Vaishnav says, "What is this? I have told in so many places. I have told in Padma Puran. I have told in so many things." And Narada said, "No. You have not sufficiently glorified to the next extent. The West end, Ananda Mayo Abhyasa. Ananda is because of that Abhyasa. Now this question came, now why creation? Creation is also the same thing. Abhyasa means again and again we have to read something. And very important to know creation. Maybe tomorrow I will tell few points why we need to know about creation so much and why it is repeated almost 5-6 times in second and third canto. Uh, Same things in a different ways about creation. One is abhyasa, it is a sadhana. Sadhana, we experience ananda. Sadhana means which is continuous for long time and with heart. Now we'll just read one last purport for today. The prompt diagnosis of Sri Narada is at once declared. The root cause of despondency of Vyasadeva was his deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in various editions of the Puranas. He had certainly, as a matter of course, given descriptions of the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, but not as many as given to religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, salvation. So again and again told dharmartha kama, dharmartha kama, dharmartha kama. But when it comes to bhakti, I just mentioned like that. The four items are by far inferior to engagement in devotional service of the Lord. Sri Vyasadeva, as the authorized scholar, knew very well this difference. And still, instead of giving more importance to the better type of engagement, namely education to devotional service to the Lord, he had more or less improperly used his valuable time and thus was despondent. For this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased substantially without being engaged in devotional service of the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita, this fact is clearly mentioned. After liberation, it is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., and is engaged in pure devotional service. This is the stage, this is called the stage of self-realization or the Brahmabhuta stage. After attainment of the Brahmabhuta stage, one is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss and should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world. And passing this stage of equanimity, one is fixed in transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the instruction of the personality of God in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta pasanatmana sochati nakakshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lab. After Brahma bhuta stage, mad bhaktim. Conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of Brahma bhuta stage, as also to indicate the degree of transcendental realization, Narada recommended to Vyasadeva that he, Vyasadeva, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency. He should explain eagerly and repeatedly. Now, here what is telling is that who can attain Brahma? That Bhakti is beyond Brahmabhuta stage. You may be Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, but beyond that is the stage where a person practices Bhakti and attains, that is the highest attainment. And these two shlokas are very important, 10th and 11th. Tomorrow we'll elaborately discuss on them. And thank you all very much. Anybody has any questions, comments, or we'll end for the day? Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you all.